thank everybody that voted for me. They didn't tell me how many people were nominated, so I'm not sure how happy I should be. But thank you, Joe, and everybody at Glamour. I want to just clarify a few things while I'm up here. As Sigourney has left, but seriously, we are not the same person. She has very generously signed my name a number of times, and I have taken credit for Alien. I don't know why this happens, but we are in the same general vicinity. If you saw us at the table, you can see this is not true. We are two separate people. Secondly, Elizabeth. Felix will not forgive you. He will not forget either. He will talk to his shrink and a number of people about this incident. I'm sure it's just the beginning of many things you will miss because you are following your heart and your passion. But since he's in your family, I'm sure he will become an artist and use it in some way later. And one day when he falls in love with a woman or a man or a trans man or a trans woman, exactly, he will give them the support and the respect because he's had a mom who's great. And who is following her passion. Also, I would like to go on record as the oldest of 9 children to say no one, unfortunately, did go down on my mother. I'm almost positive. And she is 93, and it doesn't look like it's gonna happen. Also, by the way, Rose Byrne and I have a film that's coming out, and she was great in that film, so you left that out. It's called The Meddler, and she does steal every scene, but luckily she's not in the entire thing with me. So I got a few back, but she is fucking brilliant. And I would also like to say that, you know, I have never been to an award show where people have said cunt and fuck and shit so often. And I really want to thank you because when I look at this, that's what I'm going to remember. And all my awards are in what we call the famous bathroom. And this will go in there with the Oscar and all the other ones. Thank you. Inspiration is a funny thing. I mean, you often don't even know when you've inspired somebody. You know you have an act of kindness or generosity or just basic survival. And you could find out later that, you know, it meant somebody to somebody. And so my only advice would be to be as kind and generous and authentic as you possibly can be. We mentioned Greece, and I have to say, I am inspired by women. I mean, women, guys, I'm sorry, but nobody multitasks like women. As my son said when he was about 4, he said, when I was doing stepmom, he said, but you can't die, you're the glue, Mom. And I think that, you know, what we have to do is stop worrying about being perfect and do the best we can. And remember to have the most fun you can. And in terms of all this inequality of, you know, how many roles, how much we get paid, yada, yada, yada. I hope that women can remember that it's not quantity, but quality that counts. And who wants to play all those parts anyways? Some of those guys' parts suck. I hope that everybody in this room that is connected in somehow to any kind of art form can do some things, tell some story that they care about, tell that story somehow, whether it's film or TV or columns. I loved what you said about being kind in a column. And because really, that's what's important, is to find something that really triggers something, some flame in you that you can then share with somebody. And even if it takes, I worked for Stanley, I don't know how long it took you to get that movie up that we did that you cared so much about. You know, that's really what you want to do, is find those little kernels of things that will inspire people, but aren't necessarily going to be as huge as Elizabeth's movie was. But that you have a good time doing it, and that you can tell so many stories are not just about white heterosexual males of a certain age. And nothing against those stories, but there are a lot of other stories, and they can be made, and they can be written, and they can be painted, and they can be sung. And I, as I started to say, you know, going to Lesbos and seeing what's going on there and how those women are struggling to keep their families together, and all the crises that are in this world today. This is the heartfelt, boring part. There are many, many faces that need to be seen, and many, many stories that need to be told to humanize some of the things that are going on right now. And so if any of them catch your fancy, then I would say that's great, because we do learn so much by what we see and what we hear, and we have a great opportunity to empower so many women and young men and change their idea of how things are done and what is important and what can give you pleasure, and to laugh at ourselves. And I think we are at a tipping point now, and we really need those things. So if everybody goes home now and just jots down something they want to do or say, or reach out and tell any kind of story about any people making connections, that is the bravest thing that you could possibly do. I thank you.